They were born in a Danish woodworking shop in the late 1940s and were called the automatic binding brick. To this day, they've been named the Toy of the Century twice and are still one of the most painful things you'll ever step on in a darkened room. Welcome to the Geek and I, part of the Geek News Now podcast network, sponsored by Sumner Twins Talent. Find them online at facebook.com/Sumner Twins. We'll be right back as this week we talk Legos. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Geek and I podcast. I have a special guest today. I would like to let's give a geek warm welcome to David Furr. Hello, David. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you for asking. So, I hear that you have a huge fandom and love of Lego. And in particular, Star Wars Lego. Tell me, what is your history with... I'm sorry?
Nothing. Go ahead. I was just answering your question. Yes, I do have a large Lego collection.
Tell me where it all began with Legos and what was your first Lego piece, whether it be Star Wars related or not?
Well, I mean, you really have to go back a long way on that one. I've been a fan of Star Wars just in general since A New Hope was in the theaters. I mean, I have been a huge fan of Star Wars for a long time. I still have all of my old toys from the 80s. You know, you've got the Jabba and the Rancor, and I mean, I've just got a bunch of the old toys that I just have never gotten rid of. Now, as far as Legos go, that goes back as far as 1983 or 4, I think, when I got my first. It was like a castle Lego set, I believe, and I enjoyed the building aspect of it, the creating, seeing it come together, and then once it was together, it was like, that's cool, and I built that, and I had something to do with that. I made that. So I know back in 83, I think for Christmas one year, I think I got one of it was a basic builder set, and it was just like a box with a bunch of random Legos in it. And I got it for Christmas one year, and I've been building since.
Now, do you have a favorite piece in your collection that is the holy grail to you of Legos?
You know what? I honestly have 3, and the lowest of the 3, the one that I guess if you rank the top 3, number 3 would be, I've got it's a Republic dropship with an AT-OT. Okay, this is the all-terrain, and it's huge. It was a $200 set, brand new in the stores. I never thought I would own it because I asked for it for Christmas, and somebody got it for me for Christmas. And it's just a huge, massive set, and I love it to death. Number 2 would probably be my Death Star. I've got the original, not the Ultimate Collector Series Death Star, but the original one that came out and it had like 25 different figures with it. And, you know, there's different scenes all throughout the Death Star of all the different, you know, from A New Hope and from Return of the Jedi. So you've got an Emperor throne room in there, but you've got Luke and Leia swinging across the chasm, and you've got a detention center in there that Leia can go in. So that one, and then my number one, and I guess this would be my Holy Grail set, is and I found this set. It was released in 2004. We went to Disney World in 2005. I was getting ready to deploy to go overseas for a year, and I had 30 days off, so we went to Disney. And at Disney, we found this set, and I told my wife, I was like, "This is it. This is the one set that I don't have right now." And she said, "Nope, we're not hauling that all the way back to Florida. You can't buy it." Well, then it retired. It retired while I was overseas, and you couldn't find it anywhere. And what this set is it's a Cloud City set, and I believe that was the name of it. It was $99. But what was so interesting about this set was this was the first time that Lego had done any printing on a minifigure other than like the chest. So like Boba Fett, he had his chest piece printed on the figure, but then this particular Boba Fett has the printing on the arms and on his legs as well. So this was the first time he had done that, and this Boba Fett is ridiculously rare right now. I mean, it's one of the, other than there's a solid gold C-3PO out there somewhere. But other than that, this is probably the number one piece for figures, or piece for collectors to have. So I missed the set, and for a long time I held that over my wife's head. Anytime, I did something wrong. Yeah, well, remember the time you wouldn't let me, and now it's worth, this much, and we can't, and I never could get it. And but anyway, so as it turns out, we have a brick and mortar Lego store up here where I live, and it's like a GameStop for Legos. It's buy, sell, trade. So he deals a lot in used sets, and he has new stuff, don't get me wrong, but like a lot of used sets, a lot of different stuff like that. Well, he was moving his location. He was moving from the mall to up closer to downtown where I live, and he was having a big sale. And so I asked him, just kind of jokingly, I was like, "Do you have one of these? Ha ha ha." And he said, "Actually, you know what? I've got the parts for one of those." And I said, "Okay, what do you mean the parts?" And he goes, "Well, I think I've got about 60% of it, and I'll sell it to you for $60. And I said, "Sold, I'll buy it." So I bought it for $60. I went through Bricklink, which is an online store to where you can buy used bricks. I went back to his store and dug through his table quite a bit, and I ended up spending another $33 or $34 on it. And I ended up getting the whole set, and I got it for just under $100, or I put it together for just under $100. And now it's like, that's my Holy Grail right there. And that's like I said, that's a big set for the collectors. That's huge on the collectors market.
Now, how many pieces is the biggest set that you have?
The biggest one that I have, the biggest one that I have is probably the Death Star. I'd have to go look. I'm not exactly sure how many pieces that one has. That one's quite a. I mean, that's a massive set.
Now, you said this is the one, the original one, not the what do you call it, the collector's edition?
Well, there have been 3 Death Star sets made. One of them was an Ultimate Collector Series, and it was actually just the Death Star Part 2, or the Death Star 2 from Return of the Jedi. And basically, with the Ultimate Collector Series, is that these are Lego sets that are meant to be displayed as models. I mean, they are really, really detailed. They go out of their way for putting the detail in and putting things together and making it look exactly like it looked in the movie, kind of thing. So as far as that goes, that was one of them. Then they released this one, which I have, which is 10188, the set number, and that was like I said, that one had a bunch of the scenes on it, a bunch of the figures, 3,800 pieces, 3,800 pieces. But it had it had a bunch of the different scenes on it. Again, this was one of those ones. It was selling in stores for $400. And I thought to myself, I'm never going to own this set. This set is just too big. And my wife will say, no, you're not allowed to buy it. And then she got it for me for our anniversary one year. So, but then they released another one right
now,
after this one that I own retired. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, is one of these three the one that they were building in SpiderMan Homecoming?
Yes. In fact, the SpiderMan Homecoming one, I couldn't get a real good look at it. The SpiderMan Homecoming one is like the one that I have, where he stood the Emperor on top. But like I was saying, they released another one shortly after this one retired, and it was pretty much a carbon copy of this one. There were a few things different. I think it came with a few extra pieces, like it had some extra details built into it, and it was the hair pieces for Han and Luke were different. Plus, it had instead of a $400 price tag, it had a $500 price tag. So when that one came out, I mean, and like I said, this one retired, and then it seemed like maybe right at a year later they released this one, the new one. And I looked at that and I was like, I'm not spending $500 on that because it's just a rehash of the one that I've already got, and I can spend $500 elsewhere.
Now, the ones that you have, do you just build the units, or do you put them in dioramas and do? Because I see a lot of times on there's a Flickr group that I've been following that's Star Wars Legos, and they'll build the entire Hoth battle scene on a table. And it'll have like 3 AT-AT walkers, and the snowtroopers coming down, and the rebel troopers coming over, and snow speeders. Do you do stuff like that with them? Or do they just get one off and then go on a bookcase?
No, I pretty much build and they go on a bookcase. Honestly, I'm not that talented, but I am very meticulous about putting it together by the instructions. Kind of like Will Ferrell's character in the Lego Movie. Put them together, put them up in display so that everyone can look at them. And we bought this at the toy store. And you want to talk about the AT-ATs in the Hoth battles and everything. I have 4 AT-ATs. I've got 4 different variations of the AT-ATs, but I have 4 of them. So I mean, I've got a lot. It's not like when a new one comes out, 9 times out of 10 I'll buy it anyways. Whether I already have I've got an AT-AT. Well, there's a new one out. Well, I'll buy it anyways just because it's a new model. It's a new set. But I mean, I'm meticulous to the point of even when The Force Awakens came out, and they released in October of 2015. They released not all, but they released a lot of the Force Awakens sets. It was Force Friday, and here comes the Force Awakens set. Well, one of the big sets that they released was the Kylo Ren shuttle, the shuttle that he lands on at Jakku, and but then the movie came out, and one of the things that the model had missed was that the wings fold down into like a V shape when it's flying. Well, the model didn't do that. The model the wings were just up, and they were solid, and they were set wings. And so somebody went online and they said, look, here's how you tweak it, and you change the instructions a little bit to make it so that the wings fold down, and then it's a little more movie accurate. So I looked at that and I went and I did it. And then I am not even kidding. 2 days later, I was sitting downstairs away from my Legos, not even looking at them, and I had to get up and go change it because my OCD kicked in so bad, thinking that is no way the instructions said to do it. So I've got to go put it back because it's not right. And I don't care that it wasn't, it's not movie accurate. That's fine. That's not what the instructions said. So I got to change it. I got to make it right. Now, fortunately, with Rise of Skywalker, they did release another Kylo Ren shuttle, and it is more movie accurate, and the wings fold down like they should.
Now, do you when you build these, do you box by box by box follow the instruction panels, or do you say, okay, this piece? Are you good enough to say, okay, this piece looks like it fits with this one, and then just try and build something that looks accurate? Or do you sit there and read instruction 1, 1A, 1B, 1C?
I'm meticulous about the instructions, and in fact, there have even been times where I've gotten to the end. Now, with every Lego set, you get extra pieces. There's always a couple tiny little extra pieces. Every set that I've built has one like that. But sometimes I'll get down to it and I'll be like, there are some pieces where I look at and I'll say, that was not an extra piece. That is never an extra piece. I don't know where that piece came from. And so I'll have to go back through the instructions and say, okay, I missed a step somewhere and I got to put it back so I can put it right.
It looks like we continue on.
I'm sorry. Hello?
Are you still there? I'm still here. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Yeah, I'm good.
All right. It looks like we had a little internet glitch. So let's pick it up where you were talking about extra pieces, and then I can edit and post.
Okay. So anyway, every set that I've built comes with extra pieces. There's always one or two little extra pieces. That's just typical for any Lego set. There have been times though where I've been building and I'll come up with extra pieces and I'll look at some of those pieces and say, this is never an extra piece. This is not an extra piece. I missed a step somewhere, and I'll actually go back through the instructions through whatever section I just built and go back through it and say, okay, where did I miss? What step did I miss? Where did I miss it? And I'll find it and put it right, put it the way it needs to be.
Do they still come with stickers? Because I recall when I was doing Legos years ago, or I just might be messing these up with model building. But do they have stickers that you can put on the pieces?
Oh yeah, I'm not a fan of the stickers, especially like the Mandalorian set that's out right now, or the big Mandalorian set, the ATST. That one just had a ton of stickers. I mean, there were stickers all over that thing. I think I want to say there was probably around 20 stickers that went on that thing. And it was it's just a pain, especially when you have to, you're just trying to line it up exactly so perfect. And now there are some sets where they come and they're pre-printed. And I know there's been a few of the older sets that are like that are pre-printed. And I know like they have made sets now that they're called like the 4+ sets, which basically means that they're for kids a little bit younger. They're for age 4, and the sets are basically pre-built. They're not pre-built. They're just very easy to put together, and all of their stuff there is printed as well. So there's no stickers for the little kids to put on.
So if you had to say that there was one set that you don't have that you really want, what would it be?
Well, honestly,
Money is no
the one that
object.
I
You can
money's no object.
somebody says, okay, we're going to go down to the Lego store. If they don't have it, we'll order it. This is the one you would get without question.
The one that I would get without question would be they and I'm not a big one for these sets, but there's an Ultimate Collector Series Millennium Falcon, and that thing it's $800 in the stores right now. It's built to scale of the minifigures, and it's just massive. It is quite possibly the most impressive Lego model that has ever been available to the public to buy. It's so impressive, and honestly, I'm not a fan of the Ultimate Collectors. I like them. I think they're great, and I'll buy them from time to time just as an investment. Say I want to buy it so I can build it and look at it, and when it retires and it's worth twice what it was selling for in the stores, I can sell it and have more room on my shelves for other stuff.
Now, what is
I'm
the ultimate? What is it? What makes it different other than the price tag and the amount of pieces? I'm assuming.
Actually, it's not even the amount of pieces. It's I think it's what it is. Is it's how does one put this? It's more for a display purpose than like the system sets, which is what I collect a lot of. They have a lot of playability to them. For example, for example, if you were to buy an X-wing right now and you put it together, well, you know, a 10-year-old could put it together, but then that same 10-year-old could take it and flip the wings out and fly it around and crash it and build other stuff with it. And you know, there's a play factor to it. You know, you can still swoop the X-wing, you can still take your Jedi starfighters and fly them, you can still explore Yoda's hut, kind of thing. Whereas with the Ultimate Collector series, those are very big, intricately detailed sets that are meant to be display pieces. Those are meant to sit up on a shelf and look good. I mean, they're don't get me wrong, they are great sets and I love them. But like I said, I usually buy them for, if I have the money to buy them, I buy it for an investment piece versus I'm going to hang on. Usually when I buy a UCS, it's with the knowledge of, hi, I'm going to build you and you're going to get sold eventually.
Now, do they have sets that are lit? Like, do they have like running lights, and do they have sets that light up on the insides of the cockpits and?
Not they do have some sets that have light up bricks, but not with the Star Wars line. I do know that there are people that, again, these people are more talented than me, and they will buy LED lights. And I've known them to even put like LED lights not only like on the inside of a ship so you can see the inside, but like on the back of the Millennium Falcon along the engine light, so it looks like the engines are actually lighting up and glowing. So it's a click within the click of the Star Wars Lego community, if you will.
Now, the ones that you have on your shelf, how are they displayed? Do you have them lit up with showcases, or some under glass so little hands can't touch them, or is the room that you're in, does it have a keypad that only accepts your fingerprints and eye retina scan so you can get in, or?
No, the room that I have is the upstairs game room, and it's pretty much open to everybody who can get upstairs. I have big cube shelves from IKEA that I keep everything displayed in. I've gotten just recently, and actually probably, I say recently, it's probably since The Force Awakens, I've started moving things around on the shelf to where, like when the Force Awakens sets came out, they got their own shelves, and all the Force Awakens sets are with the Force Awakens sets. Then Rogue One came out, and excuse me, now all the Rogue One sets are with the Rogue One sets. And then Last Jedi came out, and all the Last Jedi stuff is with the Last Jedi. All the Solo stuff is with Solo, and all Rise of Skywalker is with Rise of Skywalker. I've got several shelves devoted to the different Hoth scenes that are going on. I've got several shelves that are devoted to the different Tatooine, and that's Tatooine from A New Hope and Return of the Jedi. So I've got several shelves that it's the droids from the Clone Wars. It's the droid walkers and things like that. I've even got a shelf full of Gungans. How's that?
Darth Jar Jar in there somewhere?
Yeah, I'm sure he's roaming around. I could probably find him if I really wanted to.
So now from episode 4 straight through to episode 9, do you see a quality change over the years from, say, something from episode 4 and how it's built compared to Rise of Skywalker?
That's a great question. Lego, 9 times out of 10, Lego is always improving upon itself. Like, I could take the first X-Wing that was released in 1999, or the first B-Wing, or the first Snowspeeder, and these were all some of the original sets that were released. The Imperial Shuttle, for crying out loud. They were released, and at the time, because there was nothing else, you would look at it and go, man, that's awesome. It looks great. I love the way this looks. And then they would come out with a new version of the X-Wing, and they had improved it, and it looked even better. And then there was another version that came out. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's at least 5 versions of the X-Wing out right now. 5 different X-Wings. I'm sitting here counting on my shelves that are out right now. And with each different version, they have improved upon and improved upon and improved upon. The Republic gunships, which is those are fan favorites. The one from episode 2, the original one, was great. It was amazing. It was huge. Well, every other one that they've released past that has been even bigger and a lot more stuff, a lot more playability, a lot more functions that the set itself does. Now, it does happen from time to time, and I don't know if this is just Lego trying to save a buck or if this is Lego trying to make some of these sets more affordable for lower income. I know they've done this with at least 4 sets that I can think of off the top of my head. The Republic tank from the Clone Wars, they made one from when the Clone Wars first started, and then they just released one, I don't know, probably about 2 years ago, and it's like a third of the size of the original one. So it's a lot smaller. Now, obviously, with it being a lot smaller, the cost is less. They did the same thing with they did an MTT, which is the big droid transport from episode 1. They released one of those in 99, and it was okay. Then they released another one a few years later, and man, that thing was amazing. It was huge. It was big. It rolled the droids out of the front just like it did in the movie, and it was great. Well, then they released another one just a few years back, and it's like a lot smaller. And you look at it and you go, what happened here? You shrunk. So you had that one, and the ATT, which was the droid tank, they shrunk that one, and then the clone turbo tank from episode 3. They've done a third rendition of that one, and on the third one, it's just smaller. And like I said, I don't know if we're shrinking things down so we can make it more affordable for other people, or if it's we're trying to cut costs, or we're trying to make more money, so we're gonna make it smaller and charge the same. So
you mentioned the troop transports from Phantom Menace.
Mm-hmm.
the Clone Wars troop carriers. Are there, how do I say this? The amount of battle droids and clone troopers and stormtroopers and rebel alliance, do all these things come with Trooper from episode 1? Does that have 100 droids hanging off of it that opens up and spits out, or
it depends on the set. Okay, like the MTT, and I actually just wrote an article on the larger of the two MTTs, the second iteration, which was, in my opinion, the best one. And I do believe it came with, if I remember right, it came with 16 different battle droids. So you had like a driver and a pilot, and then you had 14 that were in the chute ready to come out, kind of thing. And every set comes with a fair amount. Lego also releases, just in case you can't get enough, like if your favorite thing is the Hoth Trooper from Empire, Lego makes battle packs now, to where every year they'll release between 4 and 6 different battle packs, and these battle packs have 3 to 4 troops in them, and probably a speeder and either like a cannon or a little small scene, and they're inexpensive. It's like $15, and you get troops. And I know guys that they'll go out and spend $150 and buy nothing but battle packs and just build these massive armies. I mean, they will just have stormtroopers coming out places you didn't even know you had. So they'll stack them. Now the big one, and this hits later this year, I believe in September is when they said it was due out, was that they're releasing a 501st battle pack, which will have 5 of the 501st troopers, a walker, and a speeder, and it's going to be $20, or maybe it's six troopers. It's somewhere between 5 and 6 troopers, and it's a lot of troopers is the big thing. And people have been clamoring for 501st. There have been 2 sets that have had 501st troopers in it. You had a walker from the Clone Wars, and you had a Z95 headhunter from the Clone Wars, both of them from the Clone Wars. And now we're getting a whole battle pack of 501st troopers, and everybody's like, oh, it's about time. Thank goodness.
So, David, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, too. And the big one that hit just recently, The Mandalorian had a battle pack, and it was a battle pack from that scene in episode 3, I think, when he was trying to escape with the child, and the Bounty Hunter Guild was trying to stop him, and all those different Mandos showed up and helped him escape. Well, guess what? There's a battle pack, and there's 4 different Mandos in that one. I've bought 2 of them. I usually don't buy multiples, but I've bought 2 of them just because I wanted a whole lot of Mandalorian.
So, David, you mentioned your article. Where can folks go to read your articles?
Well, you can go to geeknewsnow.net. There's a writer's corner there. I'm writing. I drop at least an article a week. I'm doing a series right now. Is the big thing that I'm working on. I did a set of articles on the original trilogy, like original trilogy sets, and then I just finished prequel trilogy sets. Next up will be sequel trilogy sets, and this is like a best and worst from each movie kind of thing. And it's my opinion. If you don't agree with my opinion, that's fine. You know what? If you don't agree with my opinion, leave a comment. Leave your opinion. I'd love to hear it. Love to hear it. It'd be great.
Yes, we would.
Yeah. But then, and then I've got one after the sequel trilogy where I'm going to cover like Rogue One and Solo and the Clone Wars. And I was told to, my son informed me, he said, well, Daddy, what about the extended universe stuff? And what about Rebels? And I was like, oh, well, I guess I need to throw a shout out somewhere. And because I mean, there's 2 or 3 sets that are out right now. No, I'm sorry, there's 4 sets that are out right now that have to do with the Old Republic. And then you had from the Force Unleashed video game, the Ebon Hawk from the Force Unleashed video game had a set, and you had a TIE crawler. And I know the TIE Defenders appeared in the Rebels series, but guess what? There was a TIE Defender Lego set long before that series came out. So, you know, there have been some EU extended universe sets that have come out that are really, really good. I really enjoy them, but I didn't leave room for them in my article, so now they're being thrown in as honorable mentions. Here you go.
Well, look forward to reading that up on the Geek News Now website. David, thank you very much for taking the time with us today to share your geekdom. I really appreciate it. I learned a lot about fandom of Legos and you know, just something that I guess as a kid escaped me from my childhood. I never was really into Legos. I was more of the gluing my fingers together with the Estes models. So thank you for your time. I really, really appreciate it. And we will see you on the web in your articles, geeknewsnow.net.
Thank you.
That's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for joining me in my quest to learn all things geek. This has been the Geek and I podcast, part of the Geek News Now podcast network. Next episode, don't miss this one. Tune in next time when I welcome James Larrabee as we discuss the art of the voice actor. In the meantime, subscribe to this podcast. Find us on Facebook at The Geek and I, Facebook.com/The Geek and I. And we are part of the Geek News Now podcast network. And we will see you next time.